the first and probably the most useful path to decision makers I've been able to find, whether it was in Japan or working with Japanese companies in other countries throughout Asia, is the expatriate Japanese. So if you find in your discussion, in front of that group, that one of those Japanese was at some point an expatriate, so they did 1 or 2 years for their company based in Singapore or Indonesia or the United States or wherever, and those people then have gone through the process of learning other things other than what the organization is already extremely good at in Japan. They've probably learned a bit about 1 or 2 foreign cultures. They most likely speak an additional 1 or 2 languages. And these people have kind of an honored and sort of almost fearful position within their organizations, because the people in their organizations know that these strategically placed expatriates see the universe in ways different than the typical Japanese salaryman, who's probably very good at what he does, but has never been outside of their bubble, see. And these people are seen as kind of outliers, but many times seen as these knowledgeable, sort of oddball Jedi characters within their companies that new ideas come into the company through. And I first met one of these expatriates when they were actually doing business with my father's company. This person worked for one of the largest Japanese companies, one of the 3 or 4 that sort of everyone think about when they think of Japanese companies. And they had been based for some time in the United States, in Canada, and then actually they were based in Central Europe for a while. And I could see immediately when my father and his group of decision makers met with this person and their group of decision makers, it was always this experienced Japanese expat who was the bridge of information back and forth, because his colleagues who had not been based in other countries really relied on them to translate, and I mean not literally in most cases, but figuratively, what the need of their company would be for the product that was being discussed. And as I got to know this person socially, later in life, it became very obvious that he was valuable to his company because of this ability to be seen within the company as being slightly different. And wow, because they're different, these new ideas don't seem so strange when presented through this expatriate, rather than just the foreigner sitting there and pitching their new product or their new technique. So take a sharp eye out when you're meeting with these groups and you're going around and you're introducing yourselves, to keep the discussion going in terms of finding out who these expatriates are, or at least who the people who did maybe 1 year of their university outside of Japan, or have done 1 or 2 projects where they had to go into another country frequently, because you will see invariably that the other people in the room start to defer to them when it comes to new ideas and new concepts. And this has been successful for me, like I said, both in Japan and working with Japanese companies overseas. And the very first few years I started coming to Asia for business purposes, one of the first people I met was a high-ranking Japanese expatriate in Indonesia. And the first project we did with my company at the time outside of their home market ended up being with this Japanese decision maker's large Japanese Japanese-led joint venture in Indonesia. And then through this path, working with the same company back in Japan. And again, it was very obvious the level of influence that this person had in their company, because of the fact that they were seen as different, right?